And the expectant crowd here at the Elephant and Castle Leisure Centre are eagerly anticipating the encounter now between Sylvester Mittee and Kirkland Laing for the vacant British welterweight championship, a title they've both held in the past, so the motivation is quite clear. At ringside, our commentators are Jim Watt and Reg Guthridge.
So there it is then, the entry. This is the vacant British Championship. This is Tony Laing, Kirkland Laing, that's his brother Tony, was also a champion. So this is Kirkland Laing, a bit of an old stager and one of the smartest boxers around. He's 32 and held the championship back in '79 and then was defeated twice by Colin Jones in '80 and '81, although he was generally considered ahead at the time. Sylvester Mittee. He's been shadowboxing in the dressing room. Kirkland Laing, I understand, has been using the punch pad that's held up there by his corner man. And they've really worked themselves up for this one, because I promise you there is a dead needle, as they say in the fight game, and always has been between Laing and Mittee. Former stablemates. There's Sylvester Mittee, and also won the championship, but lost in a 3-title match to Lloyd Hunningham.
Gentlemen, please. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main event on this afternoon's programme. Frank Warren and Gary Davidson present a welterweight contest of 12 3-minute rounds at 10 stone, 7 pounds, sponsored by Rhodes Project Planning and Associates for the Welterweight Championship of Great Britain. Presenting in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, from Nottingham, Kirkland Laing. And from Hackney, ladies and gentlemen, Sylvester Mittee. After weighing today, Laing scaled 10 stone 6 pounds, Mittee 10 stone 6.5 pounds. Referee for this contest, Mr. Adrian Morgan. Timekeeper, Mr. Tom Rice.
Adrian Morgan of Wales. He's the man who actually once disqualified Colin Jones in Cardiff, which surprised everybody at the time against an American. So the vacant championship then between two of the most experienced and, I must say, best boxers in the country. So Laing then with the dreadlocks and the blue trunks. And, he'll want to do a little bit of showing off because he's capable of doing that. And I've got to say right away, this was the man who has a win in Detroit over the legendary Roberto Duran. What a tremendous performance that was by Laing. But he's a very inconsistent character. That's been his problem. Well, I've got the right man along as his verbal sparring partners today, Jim Watt, because he sparred endless rounds with both boxers when they were originally with the Terry Lawless camp. Not asking you to predict, Jim, just to tell us how you think it may go.
Well, Laing, in my opinion, has always been one of the most talented boxers in the country, but he hasn't got the best temperament. He worries about distance fights. He's not overly confident, although looking at him you think he was. And it just depends what kind of mood he's in this afternoon. We can see already the mood Mittee's in. Mittee doesn't want to take any prisoners. He's claiming the centre of the ring and trying to get home with hard punches straight away. So I think a lot depends on Laing's attitude this afternoon.
And even with sparring gloves, Jim, what about punching power?
Yep, but they're both solid punchers. Probably Mittee is the stronger with one hit, but Laing has a fair punch.
Well, as you say, Mittee's got off to a fair start chasing his man. Sometimes he can stand off for a while, but I think he's fired himself up very much for this one. Well, it's probably, let's face it, the end of the road in title terms for a loser here. Oh, there we go. A little early here, or late for wrestling, and Laing's quite amused by that. We don't want 3-4s in a submission. I don't often see this Welsh referee working in the London rings, right in the heart of higher mash country.
I think Mittee's trying to do a psychological job on him now. A little bit untidy there, but not a bad move when you think about 12 rounds.
In other words, look how strong I am. Oh, yes. Decent little clip round the face there from Mittee, and this may stop Lang's gallop. I saw Lang boxing with Joe Louis Manley, the American who came here and then was sensationally beaten by Terry Marsh. He worked quite a lot with him. Former amateur champions, former professional champions. They really know a move or two here. I was going to say more strokes than Steve Davis. They did well to pull back from that, but these days fighters are hitting the other one on the floor a little bit, but he restrained himself there. Well done, Mittee. Well, there's the run down there with Mittee. As I say, he lost to Lloyd Huntington at the vital time when he held championships, and so did Huntington. They put the three together at Alexandra Palace, and Sylvester came off second best, but he's made a good comeback since then. He's won his last three inside the distance. American Willie McGee up in Leeds, which Jim Watt and I saw, of course, and Mark Mills at Alexandra Palace. A fellow called Montano in the third round in his last fight. Cornerman there, then there's Jimmy Tibbs on the outside, Ernie Fossey in the red, and Brian Waters working with him. We work with him at the St Pancras Gymnasium where they train. Denny Mancini looking after Kirkland Lang because his manager Mickey Duff has stayed on in America. He said he just couldn't make this trip. I spoke to him earlier this week, and there's his run down Lang. And he's been around a long time now at the age of 32. Round two of this vacant British welterweight championship, and they're only a half a pound in it there. Mittee at 10.6½, just carries it half a pound heavier. 10.7 is the championship weight. Well, on aggression, Mittee must have won the first round, Jim, simply because Lang didn't land anything, really.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, Lang didn't actually do anything in the first round. When he was younger, he had tremendous reflexes, and he could get away with this for a few rounds without taking a punch. But I don't think Lang's reflexes are quite what they were. Mittee was catching him with a few of the punches, so I think it's time to get down to work if he doesn't want suckered out of this.
As you say, he was just a kid with a precocious talent. When he was a featherweight, 9 stone, he won the ABA championships against your fellow Scott Vernon Solis. But as you say, it really is amounted to a matter of temperament. He hasn't had sufficient fights in recent years.
But I think you'll see a different Lang once he gets to work, as long as he doesn't hang around too long and get blitzed out of there, because he can put punches together. He is a very fast puncher himself, and if Mittee makes mistakes, he'll certainly be caught out.
Well, Mittee's a good thinker as well. They used to call him the Don. Obviously, that wasn't in any mafia terms. It was a tribute to his boxing knowledge.
Mittee tends to come up himself a bit more than Lang will. He's more liable to make some mistakes here.
The thing is, he's got to do that, though, Jim. He's got to carry the fight to Lang a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, if he doesn't make a fight of it, Lang never will. Lang likes to move back counter-punch. I'm thinking one of the differences between them may be that Mittee has spent the last 3 years or so boxing in title fights, but it's a long time since Lang has actually boxed with a major title at stake. So maybe at this stage in both their careers, Mittee maybe has a better appetite than Lang.
Yes, it was 1981 when Lang last fought Colin Jones. Had fights in Australia and America since then, and he won one at Atlantic City too, not so long ago. A bit of a shove off there by Lang, and threw a punch and used the forearm there. The countdown then for the second. Now he's stopped the running about now, Jim, as you say. Looks like he's getting down to business, Lang.
Yeah, but he's still carrying his hands in a silly place. He's dropping them right down to the side. He can whip punches up from there like some of the Americans do, but it's never a good idea against a noted puncher like Mittee.
So now they're probably saying, listen, settle down now. It could go a long way. You knew this when you came into the fight. He'd won the Commonwealth Championship in '84 against the Nigerian fighting Vermanis here, Mittee. Retired actually in 1983, then made a comeback. And now apparently he's invested some of his money in a bit of property. So it's nice to see them making the best of it. Social worker in London, and as we all know, a good talker as well. Well, if he can listen to all those orders, there seems to be quite a few of them coming in from the team in the corner there. He'll be okay, Mittee. Born in St. Lucia, brought up in Bethnal Green in London. Into the third. And I think the referee Morgan was waving to the cameramen, Fleet Street performers there, to keep their cameras out of the way. Well, it looked at Laing when he made the point there, Jim, didn't he? So I think he might nag him a bit if he holds on, the referee there. Oh, there was a punch on the deck. Now that's going to be a difficult one. I just congratulated him early on for not doing that, and now he's done it. He slipped in the corner, I think that was rather wet on the canvas, and the referee just severe warning and giving Laing as long as respite as he can. Now that could have been a bit awkward, Jim, if he'd have stayed down.
Yeah, well, thankfully Laing didn't try to make the best of that. It wasn't hurt, but some fighters maybe have rolled around there and made the best of it, but full credit to Laing, he didn't. But it was a little bit outrageous from Mittee there.
Just over the minute gone then in the third. Oh, well, we're getting plenty of incident. I said that there was no love lost when they came in, and I meant it, and I think you can see that.
I always remember Terry Lawless was always frustrated by Laing because he had all the talent and ability. We used to watch him spar 10 rounds with Maurice Hope in the gym when he was world champion, and sometimes you would wonder who was the world champion. But when he got into the ring, he didn't put his talents to work. You know, he worried about distance, he worried about a lot of different things, and he doesn't seem to have his act together this afternoon yet.
To go with it, of course, the managers are hot rival promoters in this one. Nicky Duff with Laing and Frank Warren with Mittee. Enough, Jim, as we said earlier, you having sparred with both of them, don't always see the devil in Mittee in the fight, but it's showing here, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think Mittee's attitudes have changed when he's come into this stage of his career. He realises his time's not on his side, and he really is determined. He has a good attitude now, Mittee.
He did well to get away from that, Laing, because Mittee was just standing off waiting for him to make one more mistake, and he'd have nailed him with that. But he's slippery as anything there. A Houdini job, that one. So that's just a gargle. They don't actually drink that, the boxers, as you can see between rounds. As they are in Laing's corner there with Mancini and Joe Ryan working with him. Danny Mancini been around the business all his life, and he knows what's going on. So in replay then, Jim.
Yeah, well, again, Mittee are the one trying to come forward and throw the meaningful punches. Laing quite content. See, there was the incident on the floor. He was on the floor for a good couple of seconds before Mittee came over. Stern warning, definitely.
Well, I don't know whether Mike Tyson started this thing about hitting after bells and people being hit on the floor. It's all kinds of flouting of rules have been going on in the last 6 months or so in boxing. We used to only get them occasionally. Round 4. And as we suspected, Jim, it was going to be very much a hard catch-as-catch-can championship, this one. Mittee still retains a fairly high rating, really, in the world at WBC, and Laing is now down in the over 20s. But that's only because of inactivity in many ways in Lang's part, certainly not mobility.
See, Laing is used to, because of his speed and his boxing ability, Laing is used to winning the first stage of a fight, and then sometimes loses his concentration and struggles a bit later on. But he hasn't won the first few rounds here. I don't know how that's going to affect him. I don't know how he's feeling at the moment. We normally expect his best work to come early.
Oh, that was a good right hand over the top there, and he flinched there, Mittee, as though I think he caught his head as well, Jim, after he'd hit him with the right hand in the fourth round, with a minute gone in the fourth. Do you think that was what happened there after he caught with the punch, that they ran onto the heads or not?
I'm not sure, Reg. It certainly looked like a good punch. I think the punch itself was enough to make Mittee blink, and we'll maybe get a look at it at the end of the round, hopefully, but it just looked like the punch to me.
Well, I think the surprise on Mittee's face stayed far longer on there than the pain from that punch. Well, as we've been saying, Laing is really a smart boxer, and you can see now how he caught Roberto Duran unawares and outpointed him. I mean, it really was a tremendous performance. Even if you could say that Duran may not have been at his best, it was still good enough for me. Minute to go. Oh, good 1-2 punches. The left hand, right hand following in. Mittee's just walking towards that right hand a little bit dangerously.
See, another thing, Reg, Laing has always been a welterweight. I get the impression when Mittee was boxing Hunnigan, it was like a welter. I know Hunnigan's exceptionally good, but it was like a welterweight in with a light welterweight, and a couple of signs showed up again there. When Laing unloaded, you could see how badly shaken Mittee was by the punches. Although Mittee is slightly heavier, his best work, we have to remember, was at 10 stone.
Yes, he had a 15-round fight, so he knows what the distance is. That's no longer applicable in British or European boxing, that distance. So we get the countdown then. It might have livened Mittee up to realise he can never afford to take it easy. So replay of that incident now, Jim. See which you weigh this one up. Showing the right hand.
Yeah, but just looked like the punch. Yeah, maybe a push with the forehead there, but I think the punch was the thing that was making Mittee blink. A good shot it was. Yep, and all of a sudden the fight turned all the way around, and for the first time we see Laing with a bit of confidence looking to unload.
There it is at a different angle now. Follow-up stuff coming in. He had an impressive round there, Laing. Mittee came back, but certainly, who knows, that one punch might have made some difference now to the reading of the fight. So they put in the makeup on him there. It's only a bit of Vaseline around the chin. Round 5. They're unloading both now with some heavy stuff. I think the sparring's over, Jim, don't you?
Yeah, well, Lang's been looking to pot shot. Mittee's doing the same things as he was doing in the first round, trying to force things. But Laing has changed a bit. He's setting himself more on his feet, and he's looking for that right hand over the top of Mittee's lead, and he's putting power into his punches now, which he wasn't doing in the first couple of rounds.
of the neck with that one. I'm not sure I agree with the referee there, Jim.
Well, I think Mittee ducked underneath the punch, landed it behind his neck. But
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it was intentional. But, oh, that was a perfect shot. I don't know.
It's all right hand happy, but it's paying off now as Laing has got Mittee trapped in Lang's corner almost, and now he's been able to move away. He was going to take up a count there. No, he stopped it. He stopped it. And that did surprise me there in a championship fight. I never criticise referees for stopping contests quickly, but what do you think, Jim?
Well, I was expecting Mittee to grab hold of Laing, which he didn't do. The first punch that landed in the right hand was a corker of a punch. I was surprised that Mittee stayed on his feet. But from that point on, Mittee was taking punches. He wasn't throwing anything worthwhile back at all. And he wasn't going on the floor. He didn't seem to have his wits about him. Either he should have grabbed hold of Laing or he should have taken a count. But he didn't do either of these things. So we'll see it here. By video, that was a perfect punch, and from that point on, Laing was in serious trouble. He wasn't coping with the problem. There goes another one. See, he's not throwing back Reg. He's not claiming a hold of Laing. He's not doing anything that he should be doing at all. He's on the ropes here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Looking about, when you watch it again, and we do get a second chance, the referee was right. I thought he might have been just a second or two too quick there, but he wasn't. So there's a presentation being made by a former boxer there, Phil Lundgren from London, who's now a steward of the Boxing Board of Control. So it's a championship again now for Kirkland Laing of Nottingham. And all points east. He just fights everywhere, this fellow. America, Australia. He's been all over, and I must say he must have whipped himself into tremendous shape, because he knew that this could be the last time around, and disliked Mittee, of course, and was determined to win. That's the famous Lonsdale belt. And here's Jim Rosenthal then with the new champion.
There you go.
Kirkland, many congratulations. We might have been a bit surprised how quickly that fight finished, were you?
Certainly not. It's only a matter of time, you know. He came out rash with me, but I know I'm just cool. As every superstar, I'm just nice and cool. And it's only a matter of time, you know. I wasn't even in second gear yet. As I say, I'm dedicated to the best man.
Mind you, you started off very slowly, didn't you?
Yeah, right. The plan. What was the plan? I watched him with Hannigan, you know, and I didn't want to get panicky. Just cool and composed.
Now, was there genuine needle between the two of you, or was it just pre-fight ballyhoo?
Pre-fight ballyhoo. Yeah, of course there is. Yeah, certainly. We're friends really deep down.
And what now? I mean, you're hardly a spring chicken, are you? What now for you?
Well, I'm back again. This is it. For real. I was never for real in the beginning. I beat Roberto Duran, and I wasn't even ready mentally. Imagine what I can do now. I'm ready mentally.
Listen, I'm sure you'll be delighted to have a look at the end of the fight. If you just have a look down, and here are the last moments, and you tell us all about them.
There you go. The right hand's overly tough. I've been practicing all that for weeks. Look, I couldn't even show my true ability, and the man didn't give me a chance. It was so rough, you know what I mean? Huh? Look at that, a little bit of killer instinct coming back in play.
Right, and you would have no complaints or no surprise at all about it being stopped there?
Oh, certainly. No, he was off his feet days. Sheer busting instinct kept him out of the way.
Trained very hard for that. Listen, you've had your ups and downs. It's good to see you back and smiling, and with a belt round your waist as well.
Kirkland Laing is back. For years, people have been saying to me I'm the greatest thing since Sugar Ray Leonard. And why not rich man and healthy man? Everywhere I go, I get it.
Get Rocky Kelly together.
What, right now, I would like Colin Jones.
Right, the message is clear. Thanks a lot, Kirkland. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, as Jim suggested, when the end came, it really was so sudden, and so Kirkland Laing has that British welterweight title again, although at 32 years of age he may not be a spring chicken. He has all kinds of aspirations. We can actually go across now because Jim Rosenthal is ready to talk to the loser, Sylvester Mittee.
Yes, thanks very much, Dickie. It's not always that the loser comes over so quickly. Sylvie, what was your view on how that fight finished?
Well, I was doing very well in the fight, and what happened, the last shot, Kirkman threw a right-hander and the thumb was sticking out. And the thumb went into my eye, and it totally messed up my perspective. And after I got that thumb in the eye, it also upset my balancing, because I can't focus out of that eye. And literally, when he hit me in the eye, it was almost like, well, the only thing I could describe it, it felt like the eye was pushed to the back of the head. And it just as I say, just messed with my balance mechanism.
But after the way you started, were you a bit disappointed at the way he got to you and obviously hurt you?
Yeah, but Kirkland was getting tired. I know that, and it was basically it was the last. I think it was the last-ditch effort. I mean, had I weathered that, had I not got a thumb, I was still strong enough to take over Kirk in the later stages.
Listen, it's tough to ask you this while you're still sweating and obviously very disappointed, but people will ask now, well, what is there left for Sylvester Mittee?
Yeah, I also asked the same thing as well, but I'm terribly disappointed now, and I don't think now is the right time I could come up with an objective opinion. So I'm going to look at the fight, see how I was performing, and within the next couple of months I'll make up my mind what am I going to do. But at this moment I'm terribly disappointed because I know I had a beaten a Kirk had I not, and it was a good punch. But the most damaging thing was the thumb got me in the eye.
Listen, I appreciate you coming over.
Thanks.
Unfortunate. Let's go back to Dickie.